Hello and welcome back to Nautilus Yacht Management. We have a special treat today, a Catana 431 named BRIZO, or La Belle BRIZO as we like to call her. She's absolutely wonderful, and she is right now in Fiji. You're about to meet with her owners. They've done a fantastic job of giving us incredible media and assisting with the filming. I think that we didn't want really to touch anything that they've done, so we're just going to share it with you directly as it is. So BRIZO in Fiji is currently in Savu, which is in Vanuatu in the North Island, but they will be making their way down to Viti, closer to the international airport shortly, so you'll be able to easily come and see her from wherever you are in the world. Very happy to present to you BRIZO today. Enjoy!
Hello, I'm Mikhail.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are the owners of BRIZO.
We really wanted to spend some time to share a little bit about ourselves, why we bought BRIZO, and our experience with her. To start, we wanted to share why we're selling BRIZO. It really came down to two things. First, we accomplished our goal to sail across the Pacific. Woo! And second, we are hoping to return to land life to start a family.
So a little bit more about us. I grew up sailing, taught by my family, my grandmother in particular, and, started an Optimist 470s and eventually made it to the World Championship of J80s. Then I continued in the Bay Area to sail and race, where I met Jenny, but also started to forge this dream of crossing the Pacific sailing one day. So I'm very happy that we have performed that.
Yeah, I think part of the reason I met Mikhail was because of sailing. It was something I always aspired to do, but really didn't pursue till after meeting him. Together, we cared for a little monohull in San Francisco, and we spent a lot of our holidays traveling around the world, test driving performance catamarans. And it was just a great way to travel without living out of your suitcase and just meet new cultures and travel to some pretty remote islands.
Yeah, it was a great way for us to test drive performance catamarans. We were looking for something that was fast, something that was safe, and had a good compromise with comfort as well. So there are very few boats that were meeting all of those criteria. And the Catana 431 was a particular model that really appealed to us for a bunch of different reasons, but I think the strong and sturdy durability from, the build of those years, the centralized weights, the sail area to displacement ratio, but also the fact that we have, a cockpit that has all the lines running to it so that you can reef with ease, can be handled with one or two people. We really loved her for that, but we also loved the comfort.
Yeah, I think we specifically looked at 4 Catanas, and when we came aboard BRIZO, it just immediately felt like home. I think what really stood out was just the meticulous upkeep, and just all the modern updates that the previous owners had made, and she really felt like a turnkey boat. We did have to make some investments to make her Bluewater Ready and allow us to travel across the Pacific Ocean and spend a lot of time at anchor and in remote atolls rather than in marinas. But she really exceeded our expectations.
Right. And oh boy, she performed. I can tell you a few anecdotes there where we'd be sailing in, 5-6 knots of breeze and almost matching wind speed, and people coming to see us to see what happened if we had the engines on or such. Very impressed. On our last passage to New Zealand, we were head to head with a looping 50 and Outremer 49 that we managed to beat, by a few miles at the finish line. It was really fun. But we also made sure that we're not pushing her too much because we don't want anything to break.
Yeah, I think just a couple anecdotes. When we first moved aboard BRIZO, I just remember times where dolphins would come swim up to us, and I think one of my favorite memories was sailing across the Pacific. We actually left from La Cruz, Mexico, where there's a great sailing community, and arrived to Nuku Hiva, and we did that in just under 17 days. which I was really grateful for. With a performance catamaran like BRIZO, you can make passages short and spend more time in the islands and places that you want to explore. And, I think it was important for us. We're a couple. And so we needed a boat that we could easily handle as one or two people, but that there was also space to host friends and family.
Right. We had my entire family come on the boat. We were 8 people on the boat for a couple of weeks, which was a little bit tight, but still very manageable.
Yeah. And, I think, it's sad. BRIZO is our first home together. So I think the day we sell her is going to be a really sad day for us. But the previous owners just helped made the purchase and the transition so smooth. And, we aspire to keep up BRIZO and the maintenance and continue to invest in her while we've owned her. And we really hope the next owners will take the same care. And, it's our assurance to make sure it's as smooth as possible. I think, you can have Mikkel's number on speed dial, and certainly I can be available to help where possible.
Yeah, I think that's pretty nice to have previous owners that can give you a nice tour of a boat, but also help you with transition. That certainly made us transition much easier for us.
All right. So thanks for taking a look at BRIZO, and get in touch with us.
Hi, welcome aboard BRIZO. I'm very excited today to give you a quick tour of the exterior of the boat to start with, as we've been so pleased with her since we've acquired her. So let's get going. I think the first things I want to talk about are the unique features of the Catana 431s. As you can see, all the lines are going on from the mast all the way under the boat and coming back here. This allows you to effectively do most of your maneuvers from the safety of the cockpit. We have a nice Anderson electric winch with 2 speeds to help you do that, along with 6 other Anderson winches that are 2 speed as well, which means that you're never out of winches to do any maneuver. So I love that. Another feature of a boat is the fact that there is no traveler for the main. It's a 2-pulley system that allows you to trim your sail, some would say even better than with a rail, especially as it regards the twist. I'm personally a big fan. Back here we have a nice 700 watt solar panel arch, coupled with almost another 700 watt up on the Bimini roof, which means you're basically never out of power. We're able to cook with induction. We're able to make water as we pleased. Never been an issue on the boat. We do have, for very rainy days, a backup generator that we can plug in to charge our batteries as needed, on top of course, the engine. Back here we have on the back of the solar arch the external antenna for Iridium Go, which means we got excellent reception whenever needed. The SSB antenna back here, and of course our Starlink system all the way back here that is has a cable that is running through the home station down in the engine room and inside the boat, so that it's a very neat and clean installation. So now welcome to the main, I want to say, steering station, because it has the engine controls out here. A nice BNG display, which essentially is the same as in the inside the boat. So you can control the autopilot through here, as well as with an independent pad out here. And we also have very practical Navi VHF control here, which is very practical when you arrive into a harbor to discuss with a harbor master when you arrive. Next is the engine controls, all the way back here, and displays for your instruments with 2 BNG Tritons on each side, so that you have a direct view with the from the helm station, and H5000 display that also gives you the ability to show instruments as needed. Another thing on the cockpit is the great amount of storage you have on the boat. Here is two very large lockers that we use to store a lot of our snorkeling gear, some of our safety equipment. So much space in there, you will never fill them up. Another locker right underneath the bench here is very practical, for also very deep, and gives you a lot of ability for storage. So here is we are on the port side of a boat. Couple I guess particularities on that side is one, sea barbecue here that is very easy to connect to either a 1 pound LPG bottle or your large LPG bottle for the boat. And our main shower of a boat here, hidden back there, is a perfect shower, deck shower, that we basically use every day, especially in the tropics. Our EPIRB is back here, and our helm position on the port side is essentially very similar to the starboard side. We have a helm, we have our Plastissimo compass, and our BNG instruments that allows us to control the autopilot from. Alright, let me show you the deck of a boat. First, as you move on deck, you see here are controls for our furlers, spinnaker lines that all run back to the cockpit, nice in a nice tunnel so that it's out of your way. And all the lines are stored into a nice little bag to keep them neat and out of the sunlight. As you move forward, we have two running backstays on the boat that go all the way to the top of the mast. Great additional safety for the mast. We love that as well for that. And of course here are main shrouds for the boat. Coleco ducts, Dyneema lines that have been changed last year. Very pleased with them. Not much maintenance or anything to do with stretch, because we really set them in place and haven't had to adjust them much at all. Our port side deck aboard, excuse me, that we really use only when we go upwind. Most of the time they're in their up position. And as you can move along the deck here, we have another very strong cleats all over the boat. Those are really nice for docking. And all the way at the bow of the boat, we have very large sail lockers. We store not only our sails in there, but there's room to store any other kind of toys you may want or have. Now, as we move forward at the very front of the boat, we have 3 head sails that we can choose on BRIZO for. First one is our Genoa sail. This is our main sail that we use most of the time. It's 150% Genoa and works great for most winds that we've experienced. We do also have the opportunity to put our trade wind sail that goes into the red halyard here. It's on the furler as well, which makes for very easy furling and unfurling. And finally, at the very front is our spinnaker halyard. This is for a 150 square meter spinnaker, which really allows you to sail in any kind of wind, any kind of low wind, and still make decent speed. We have martingales that hold our spinnaker pole, all in Dyneema as well. The one on the most port is our diesel tank. In here we've got our anchor chain locker, but we also have, very practical, a nice little deck wash hose. Great to wash the deck, as its name stands for, but also to wash, use it quite often to wash our watermaker filters, for instance. And here was the two main large lockers for storage. We usually have our dock lines in there, jerry cans, etc. Now back to the mast. This is our amazing tall mast that is made by Espace Composite, who's now Lorima. Lorima, as I'm sure you know, is one of the top mast providers those days for all the racing boats you see for offshore racing. So it made me feel great confidence on the capability of this boat to cross the Pacific Ocean, but also made me feel better when I made sure that it was pulled out, inspected and rewired in 2019. So the controls for our halyards here are right on the side of a mast with 3 cleats and control of another Anderson winch, which actually makes 8 Anderson winches on the boat. One last thing forward, we usually love to sit here, even when on the way sometimes, when it's champagne sailing with a nice breeze. And the great thing is, we have a remote autopilot system here. So great to feel at ease, being able to sail and cruise with a boat, with the safety of being able to change course. Welcome to the starboard engine room. Here are the home of our D240 engines from Volvo Penta. Those are not original. They have been changed as part of the repower in 2019 with the saildrives. They produce 40 horsepower of power and have 1,250 hours on them. They've also been very well maintained according to a Volvo Penta maintenance schedule with all records that we can provide. Further back in the engine room, we have our pumps, shower drain, bilge pumps, our water pumps, filters for diesel, and some of our electronic equipments with our solar charger for the solar arch. And up there we have our DC-DC chargers for charging the battery safely, the lithium battery safely with the engine alternator. Our start batteries are here, and up to the right we have our diesel here. The steering is a rod rack and pinion steering system, which makes it very sturdy. You can feel what's going on at the helm. It's a great system that I've come to love on the Catana. Also very reliable. Towards the back of the engine room we have a battery combiner along with our Blue Sea ACR system to keep the start batteries isolated and so that they do not drain when not in use. A set of outlets for power tools or electrical needs that might be needed. And our autopilot electric drive from Ray Marine running directly to the steering system at the back of the boat, and our angle sensor located right behind. We also have this hose that provides a great outlet for fresh water when for cleaning the boat or other water needs. And now welcome to the port side engine room, which is very similar to the starboard side, with a notable exception of our watermaker. This is a great Spectra watermaker system 380C, which is rated for 15 gallons per hour and uses only 20 amps while running. It's also very silent. We're able to keep it running at night and doesn't bother us for sleeping at all. Right underneath it is the membrane, which we have a spare of on the boat, but still in very good condition. And underneath is the panel system with the feed pumps, pre-filters, accumulator, and such. which is very simple. We love it because everything is labeled. It's also very clear, and it has everything you need to service your water maker as needed. We have here a flushing system with a carbon filter to be able to flush your water maker when not in use for more than 24 hours. And we also have right underneath valves with service hoses so that you can pickle your water maker easily when not in use for a longer amount of time. Another thing to be noted is that we basically have spares of everything on that panel as well, in case it's needed, but it's been very good to us and very reliable. So overall, we've been big fans.
So now we're going to show you the interior of BRIZO. First is our general living quarters, which features a large saloon, nav station, and galley. As you enter the living quarters, what I'm very impressed with on BRIZO is just the large windows. Not only does it give it a bright feel, great visibility, but incredible airflow with 2 forward-facing hatches and 2 smaller hatches below. They may look small, but they are mighty. They create the best cross breeze on even the hottest days. Starting with the saloon here, you can see we have a large sofa made out of Alcantara, which is very easy to maintain. We use this couch for lounging, reading, watching TV, even sleeping. We've converted this to a bed for hosting up to 2 guests, and of course, eating our meals. Right now, the table is set up for 2, as we're just 2 on the boat, but you can see here, it quickly and easily opens to sit comfortably 6 to 8 people for dinner or breakfast. Down below the table, we have some storage for our silverware, as well as glasses and vinegars. And up above, you'll notice lighting. This lighting is incredible. It's all LED, so long-term and efficient use. Warm lights, and including 1 red light here. Moving over to the galley. This is an aft-facing galley. Starting on the right-hand side, we have a 100-liter freezer, forward opening. Plenty of counter space to prepare quick grabs of your spices and oils, and some features here which we really like: a ability to turn the propane on and off directly from the galley, as well as the water maker on and off quickly from the galley. Again, you can see plenty of great storage space. This is where we keep our plates. And underneath, hidden here, is our Force 10 stove. Those who know Force 10, they're top of the line gas stoves. We have 3 burners, a full oven that heats up to over 450 degrees with a broiler as well. And finally, the sink. Never thought I'd say this, but this is one of my favorite features of BRIZO. It's a large, deep sink, which allows us to store things while we're underway, water bottles and such. But it's also very convenient with the various faucet systems. First, we have our traditional faucet. This is something you would see in your home. It expands and has a spray and stream function. We also have a faucet for testing our water maker. And finally, our foot pump faucets. So this is a feature I really love because it creates for a hands-free mess when cleaning dishes, but also efficient use of water. On the left-hand side, we have a saltwater pump, which pumps water directly from the sea, as well as a freshwater pump that pumps water from our reservoir. Again, many guests have commented that they hope to install these at their home, just given the efficiency of use. To finalize our galley, here we have a 200-liter top-lifting fridge. First I was skeptical about a top-lifting fridge, but it stores a ton of food and is very easy to organize. We've hosted over 8 guests for 3 weeks, and the food stayed here. We had fresh fruits for 17 days on our passage from Mexico to the Marquesas. Many thanks to this fridge. Here we have our TV to watch shows or also project our nav station, some of the quick grab materials like sunscreen and VHF. And here is our DC panel. This is where you can easily turn on your electronics, your water pumps. We have a fuel gauge here, as well as a reservoir gauge for both our starboard and port water tank. Finally, some controls for our diesel heater, which is available in both cabins. And to round out the living space, we have our forward-facing nav station. I've seen nav stations in many different boats. This has been one of my primary places I love to sit when under watch.
Okay, a little bit more about the electronics near the nav station. First of all, our windlass, it can be controlled 3 different ways. A wireless Bluetooth handheld device, a wired device with a chain counter, and a simple up and down button for redundancy. We also have practical 12 volts outlets with USB outlets right next to the nav station for charging anything you might need. Our chart plotter, Zeus 3 top of the line, is a great area so that you can control your autopilot and see all the electronics and information you need to have while on the way. Great sport for night watch. Our VHF has GPS and compass integrated to it. Then a simple humidity and thermometer. Our Bluetooth stereo system has 5 speakers and 1 subwoofer. Makes for a very nice surround feel while listening to music. And our main control for the Victron batteries, where you can see that everything that is happening from an electrics perspective, thanks to our 1400 watts of solar, we can keep our batteries charged most of the time. And finally, here is the old school SSB radio if there are fans around there. Now, underneath the nav station, we have the heart of the BNG electronics, as well as some of our main breakers. Everything has been installed professionally.
Take you through BRIZO's main electric system. So first of all, so it's all under the main lounging area, where we have a combination of equipment, but also very good storage to store dry goods or others. So first, we have our inverter, which is a 3000 watt Victron inverter. Next is our batteries, our main Victron batteries. So we have 200 amps for each battery, which gives us over just about 10 kilowatt hour of battery capacity. In here are the rest of the Victron's installation with the BMS and distributors. Right in the corner here are our main buses. So we have our positive and negative bus. Makes it very simple and easy to understand what does what, and also easy to add additional equipment if needed. Our JBL subwoofer, and finally here our 16,000 BTU Dometic air conditioning system for the main salon.
Now let's take a look down into the halls. We'll start on the starboard side, which is the owner's cabin. Come on down. Here we have the owner's cabin. As you can see, there is a very large queen-size bed with just a ton of light. Some of the features I love best are the reading lamps in the back that are managed by individual switches, and the 2 windows, which create a great nice cross breeze. One morning woke up and saw a pod of dolphins swimming right outside this window. It was so magical. We do have a screen to cover for bugs, as well as a blackout shade to allow you to sleep in as long as you'd like. Across the way here, you can see plenty of space for storage. We actually have some nice baskets which we set up to store some of our clothes along with books, and another small window which faces into the cockpit to create that nice cross breeze. TV, which can be set up with Chromecast or Apple TV, as well as some charging stations, both connected to the 110 volt, as well as the 12 volt with USB chargers. Looking into the cabin, we can close the door here, and you can see on the right hand side we do have a vacuum setup to keep the boat nice and tidy, as well as a bench which offers storage underneath. A lot of space here to get ready, to move around, to hang things. And here on the left hand side we do have a thermostat to manage the temperature of this cabin, the holding tank gauge, an Iridium Go, which is connected to an external antenna, as well as the AC panel. Here we are looking forward from the owner's cabin. One of the things I love about BRIZO is just all the incredible woodwork that is original to the true Catana design. The other thing I really love is just the great access to storage. Here on the starboard side, you can see we have a desk and some shelving. We actually use it for a microwave and our medicine kit. Looking forward, we have 3 closets here in this hall. The 2 on the inner side are shelved closets. We use the aft for tools and the forward closet for linens and other goods. And then on the outer side, we do have a hanging closet. This we use as our wet locker. Then looking forward to the front of the cabin, front of the hall, we have our first head. As you can see, this is a large bathroom. We have a separate head with separate shower. I love how bright this room is. Again, a huge window looking out to the sea, which also offers our screen shade as well as blackout shade if you'd like some more privacy. You can see here I'm standing in the separate shower. One of the things I love the most is the shower head. It is high pressure but low volume, so it's very energy efficient and efficient for saving water. This is an emergency hatch, which also can pair as a window while at anchor. We do open it up and it just creates this incredible breeze throughout the boat. Really helps to cool it down. Other features here in the large bathroom is the head. We have a manual head here with a Jabsco pump that pumps directly from the sea. A macerator, as well as, again, just a lot of storage space. Here in the medicine cabinet, we have space for all your products. And there's even more storage down below the sink where you can store other goods. Okay, now let's take a look at the port hall. As you make your way down, I do want to point out here along the stairs, there is a thermostat for the air conditioning. This thermostat manages the air conditioning in the main saloon. Here looking aft, we have another queen size bedroom. This cabin is very similar to the starboard cabin. As you can see, again, we have 2 great windows to create that cross breeze. On the exterior window, again, we have the bug shade and blackout shade, reading lights aft. And just here you can see it a little more set up with some storage, plenty of space to store your Kindle on the shelf, your tea for night. We have some baskets and some books. You can see a TV here that's set up with Apple TV. Just plenty of space, very bright room. And as we move here, we have 2 more thermostats, one that's to manage the diesel heater, and again, another thermostat to manage the air conditioning in this cabin. So again, we have air conditioning in the port cabin as well as the main saloon. And what's distinct from this room compared to the starboard cabin is just some of the storage space that's forward looking. So if you may remember, in the starboard cabin, there's a bench with storage. Here we have a hanging closet with storage above. The hanging closet we use for backpacks and for holding our laundry. So here we're facing forward from the aft cabin in the port hall. And as you can see, just incredible woodwork and most importantly, a lot of space to walk around, a lot of headroom, and a lot of easy to access storage. Here in this hall, we have 4 closets in addition to the closet in the aft cabin. We have 2 shelved closets, which we use for storing clothes here on the exterior side. Another one here, again, for storing clothes. And then on the interior, we have a hanging closet here. Again, we use to hang some of our nicer clothes. And then a shelved closet. And here we store our food. These are mostly our spices and dried goods. What's really nice is it's easy to access, quick grab from the galley. In addition to the dried goods stored here, we have a ton of storage under the bilges for canned goods and other items. And as we move forward, we come to what I call our multi-purpose room. This is a single cabin and also a head. At first, I was a little skeptical about this space, but I've really come to love it. We have an electric head here that discharges directly to the sea. You can see, again, on the right-hand side, we do have that emergency hatch, which is a safety feature, but when we're at anchor, we can open it. Just creates incredible cross breeze into the boat. We have the cabin set up right now as a single bed. We can convert this into a double bed, which we can show you in just a moment. And then we do have a large sink here as well. All right, here's another look at the forward cabin, which has now been converted to a double bed. This still creates a lot of storage space underneath the bed for surfboards or other items like suitcases while you're underway.